consider this an admission of defeat, if you're so inclined. You see, a while back I made this video on vocabulary in flamenco, and not once did I mention the most interesting part, the most obvious part. Where does the word flamenco itself actually come from? And if you speak Spanish, or are a student of Spanish at an intermediate to an advanced level, your ears should be pricking up right now, because you would know that flamenco has at least 3 different meanings. A flamenco could refer to a bird, a flamingo, that's flamenco in Spanish. Flamenco could refer to the dance, or the dance genre more. It could also refer to someone from Flanders, right? So a lot of the territory of what today we would call the Benelux countries belonged to the Spanish Empire in the 15th and 16th centuries, and someone from Flanders was referred to as a flamenco. A Flemish person was a flamenco in Spanish, and still is to this day. So flamenco, the word itself, is what we would call polysemic. It's got lots of different meanings for one single word. But why? And how does the word for all these other things also come to refer to a dance? Are they related in any sense? Do they all originate from different sources? Well, if you know this channel, and you know my penchant for delving into etymological ephemera, you will know that likely we aren't really certain about where this word comes from. At least the dance form. The word as it refers to the dance form. There are a few theories, though. So the one theory is that it comes from an Arabic word. I'm going to butcher the Arabic pronunciation, so please forgive me. Flamenco, which means something like wandering peasant, maybe, a wandering, I'm trying to think, really campesino errante, like someone from the countryside who wanders around, travels from place to place. This could refer to gypsy communities. I'm not sure if we still use that word a lot, but I'm not sure how else to express this in the context of Spain. Obviously flamenco, traditionally we claim and we hold it to be that flamenco arises at least in part from these communities. So it could refer to that. But the problem is that there's not a lot of attestation for this historically. There's another theory which ties it to the Flemish, right? So, as some of you may know, Philip II, Felipe II, Felipe el Prudente, as he was often known, fought an enormous war, a very bloody war against the rebels led by William of Orange in Flanders. And so one of the theories states that the act of rebellion, a sort of rebellious kind of attitude, was associated with the word flamenco, right? And because flamenco was initially, as a dance form, performed by people who were kind of a social underclass in a sense, social outcasts to some degree, that word was then associated with their artistic expressions. So the word for the dance actually comes from the word for people of Flemish origin. I personally find that kind of unlikely, not only because, again, there's not a lot of really in-depth historical etymological research that confirms this hypothesis, but also it seems like it would be sort of strange that that word would stick only in the context of dance, and we wouldn't see it as any spirit of rebellion, referring to any spirit of rebellion in the Spanish language more generally. That's my personal counterpoint there. There's one final one, which I think is probably the most unlikely of them all, and that is that flamenco is related to flames. Okay, today in Spanish, the word for flames or tongues of flames would be llamas, right? But that comes from an older form, which is a lot closer to the English word flame, right? So because the dance form is so kind of energetic and loud and powerful, it's very fiery in that sense. I think that's unlikely. I think it's an unlikely link between the word flamenco and this kind of aspect, this aesthetic aspect of the dance, partially because that just seems like a post facto definition. It just doesn't seem likely that we would associate something using terms that more than anything else, I think, come from a 19th century romanticist sort of philosophy of aesthetics. But look, I could be wrong here. If you have any idea where the etymology of flamenco lies, let me know in the comments below. I'm also going to link the thread for this from Etimologías de Chile. A lot of it is pretty much what I've told you here, but in a little bit more detailed form. There are a few other hypotheses that I didn't really think of including here, but I'll let you judge for yourself there. And with that, having said that, thank you very much for watching. Please follow us on Instagram. We now have an Instagram account. Follow us on Instagram, subscribe, like, comment, and share. And I will see you in the next video. Adios.